Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So listen, as I'm out and about and I'm moving throughout my city and I'm encountering other teachers and other professionals and they find out what I do, they always ask me, specifically educators, how do they make that transition? They want to know the ins and the outs and the do's and the don'ts of higher ed, right? So either they're desiring to make that transition or they have made their transition and they just want to know how can I be successful my first year? Like I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. Today, I'm giving you my top 10 tips for a first year professor. These are 10 tips that I wish I had have known my first year as a professor. So I actually became an adjunct first. And it was when I was in grad school in my program. And so it kind of happened to fall into that thanks to my mentor. But I didn't know the ins and the outs and the do's and the don'ts of higher ed, right? So I wish I'd have known these things because I learned them, but I kind of flailed in the wind for a little while before I learned them. All right, so number 10, avoid the politics, okay? Avoid all the politics as it relates to higher ed. Higher ed is a big political arena, and sometimes the decisions that are made we don't necessarily agree with. They may not necessarily be the best things to do. There may be a smarter, so that we feel, way to do them, but it is a political arena. So pick your battles, okay? There are some things that I was and still am willing to fight and I will go down fighting for, especially when it comes to advocating for my students and what is best for them. But then there are some things that happens and they make absolutely no sense. And when we sit down and we put pen to paper, this way over here is really a lot better. It's a lot smoother, but the powers that be say no, right? So avoid the politics, stay out of it. You do not want to be that person that is known to be a troublemaker. You want to be that person that when they talk about you, they do nothing but smile. They rave about you because you do your job and that's all that they can say about you. Hey, so now it is easy to kind of get caught up in the rat race, to always want to be seen, especially if you're looking to make that transition full time. If you're not full time, if you're an adjunct, or you just basically you want to network, it is easy to kind of get caught up and bombarded with several activities that in your mind it seems like you can do, but then on paper and when you actually start living those things out, they really are difficult. So number 9, do not overload yourself or put too much on your plate trying to volunteer for every committee, every planning opportunity, or every conference they want you to go to and things like that. There are some that are beneficial, but I'm telling you, when you put all of that stuff on your plate, especially if you're working another job, or if you're like me, you have a family, you have several things going on, my kids are in all kinds of activities, it's really easy to get overwhelmed and bombarded. So only volunteer for those things that are of definite interest to you, that is going to further your knowledge or your experience and expertise in that particular area, and those things that legitimately make sense. Um, it gets a little tricky when we talk about tenure versus non-tenure track faculties, and that's another video that I'll do, so stay tuned for that one. But just be really careful. There are definitely different demands for tenure track faculty versus non-tenure track faculty, but either way, you still need to be able to be present and be acceptable and functional for your students, as well as your life outside of higher ed. So don't bombard yourself with trying to be seen and be present on every single thing that the college is doing. Take your time, get to see and look at those things that you want to do. Definitely attend conferences, definitely do some presentations, but don't overload yourself to the point to where either you are half doing the job or you are letting some things slip by and fall by the wayside. So number 8, familiarize yourself with the schools and your departments, their mission, their purpose, What are they looking to do? And be sure that you can and you are willing to uphold that and that it is a work of heart for you. Okay? If not, you will treat the job any kind of way and you'll find yourself jumping from position to position, right? So know what it is that they're doing, what they're looking for, what they're going to be requiring of you so that you can make a conscious decision to say, I don't know if I necessarily believe in this or this is where I feel like my career is going. And you can have a definitive and a clear and precise um, view of what you're getting into. Okay. So knowing those things will help you be a better teacher because when you're going into something and you're putting your all in it because you believe in it and that is what you want to do, you can see yourself doing that as you move forward, then that is when you'll give your all and you'll go in and you'll be that 1,000% teacher. However, if you don't fully believe in what they are doing or you have not quite bought in to their mission, it will show in your work. So make sure that you are doing that, you understand what their purpose and their mission is, and you can personally say, I am invested in this. This is what I want to do. This is something that I believe in, and I'm going to use this opportunity to assist them with furthering their mission. Number 7, it's a simple one. Be available for your students. Period. That's it. Realistically, if you are a full-time faculty member, you are required to have a set number of office hours, whatever that is for your university and your college, right? But if you're an adjunct professor, that does not negate the fact and it does not excuse you from being available for your students. There will be times that their availability does not match yours, specifically if you have working adults as students, right? So make sure that you're available. Now, you don't necessarily have to uproot and turn your whole entire life upside down to accommodate your students, but it is beneficial for you and for the students if you are accommodating and you are available for them. Period. That's it. The end. Now, I know I told you earlier to avoid the politics, and that is something that I definitely want you to do. You'll thank me later, trust me. But number 6, it's pretty easy. Be open minded to your fellow colleagues as well as your students, okay? Understand that the colleagues that have already been there, they have been through their first year. So some of them are going to be a plethora of knowledge for you. You can go to them and you can talk to them and collaborate with them about the ins and the outs of the workings of your university. If you're having some issues maybe with some students without divulging too much, just maybe going to talk to them to find out how they deal with those situations. You're definitely going to want a mentor when you get there, just to help guide you, that person that will be that sound mind, that sounding board for you. You're also going to want to be open-minded with your students. Specifically, if you are teaching like undergrad students, some of them have never been away from home. This is the first time that they are experiencing adulthood. This is the first time that a lot of them will experience failure. So keep that in mind as you're dealing with them and you are working with them. For your students, you don't want to coddle them and hold their hand and hinder them from progressing. However, you do want to be open-minded enough and understanding enough that stuff happens, life happens. They make mistakes. They are figuring this thing out as they go. And your colleagues that you're going to be open-minded towards, they're going to help you navigate that as well. So just be open-minded, be friendly, avoid the politics, but remain professional and be open-minded. Number 5 is extremely important. Okay, it is extremely important that on the first day of class, you review your expectations as well as your syllabus with your students. Okay, this covers both you and them so that they cannot say they did not know what your expectations were for them, nor did they know the due dates of the assignments, when they were supposed to report, what they were supposed to do, how they were supposed to contact you. If we review this in class, then you have no excuses, right? I also have my students sign an acknowledgement form that says you acknowledge that you have received this form and that you are made aware that it is posted online for you to review. It also says that you understand that I, as the instructor, have a right to change anything in the syllabus as I see fit, right? That's the last thing that you want is for your students to say, well, I didn't know what was going on in the class. She never told me. Yes, I missed 4 classes, but this is why, I missed, and so on and so forth. I make it plain and clear up front on the very first day, and they have to sign the acknowledgement form. And they are graded for that. Okay. I also, as it relates to my expectations, I expect my students to come to class every single day, right? I am training teachers. So when they get into their profession, into their classrooms, their principals are going to expect them to come to school every single day. So I believe in practicing how you want to play. I expect you to be in my class, be prepared, be on time, and be ready to work. Those are my expectations. So it is stated out in my syllabus, as well as I have my attendance policy bold and highlighted for them so that they understand, hey, okay, if you miss 3 classes unexcused, that will lower your letter grade, 1 letter grade, and you will continue in that fashion for every 3 classes that you miss. Typically, that deters students from missing my class, not all the time. So going over your expectations, what is going to occur in your class, allows you to set the tone for what's going to go on. And anybody that violates those things, they are responsible for that, because it is not as if they did not know. The end. Number 4 is a biggie, and it is one of my favorites because I believe in hands-on learning and moving around and getting up. Make your lessons engaging. Oh my God. Nobody wants to sit there and listen to anybody talk to them for 3 hours, for an hour, for whatever, right? Get them up, get them moving, get them involved in the lessons. I promise you it will change your life and theirs too, because they will grasp the concepts that you're trying to teach. They will want to be involved. They will want to learn. It will stick with them, okay? Research shows that when a lecture is being had and a teacher used traditional teaching strategies of lecture and note taking, that students typically, and let's just say in a 50-minute class, you lose those students after the first 5 minutes, right? After the first 5 minutes, you have lost them. You only regain them when you prompt them that you are ending, which is typically about 45 minutes later, depending on whatever time your class is over, however long you have. So all of that time in the middle, you have lost them. Get them up, get them moving around. There are several cooperative learning strategies, peer mediated strategies. There's several of those out there that you can use, that it does work with college students. I am a special education instructor, and so I believe in making my students a part of the lessons. And so I teach typically the intro classes, and one of them is Intro to Special Education. That is where I introduce the students to the different topics or the different disability categories. And all of the lessons that I have them do, or where I'm teaching, because typically they have to present on a certain topic. So each student, or I may pair them up, and they have to create a presentation based on, let's just say, autism. And then the next time we meet, I give a reinforcing activity. And what my activity typically looks like is they will take on the role of a student with that disability.
Okay. All right. So,
For real, what you do?
right. So,
Lost?
toe. Tell them to say play. I can't come on.
Y'all know what she said. That's terrible.
They lost the 36 for the homecoming.
They came back to one.
So Sunday was a good day.
You had a good weekend.
I can't believe she had fun game.
So what did I do?
You went to a football game.
Friday.
Friday.
They
lost.
31, 37.
Whoa, what happened?
They
What happened on Friday?
They lost.
Who lost?
Your son football team.
It was their
No, they
homecoming.
won. You said it was amazing. It was their homecoming.
Saturday they won.
Oh.
Somebody lost on Friday.
But how did y'all know what I was saying?
I didn't know.
Cause you was like,
I heard they
Did it help you?
I heard loss. I
Okay.
heard tickets.
All right.
Not two schools.
What would have made this easier for you?
You wasn't doing all this.
Oh, that didn't help you?
The cotton ball wasn't in my ear.
Okay, so if the cotton balls were not in your ear, think about your student though. They don't get to come out of their disability. They don't get to come out of it, right? So you said if I had not been moving so much, that would have helped you. What would have helped someone else?
Speaking a little louder.
Speaking louder, okay? What if, even if I were moving, slow down. What if I were moving and I came closer to you and talked in a tone like this? Would this have helped you? Mm-hmm. Right, so even though I'm still moving around, I'm speaking slower so that you can hear what I'm saying and you can actually access the content that I'm giving you, right? So this is what I said. My whole weekend was filled with football. Friday, my husband's high school team played. It was their homecoming, right? They lost with like 30 seconds left. They lost. They were winning the whole game and they lost last 30 seconds. Saturday, my son played. They were losing at the beginning and they came back and they won 33-27. And I said he's been the defensive player of the game 2 weeks in a row. So I was like, I'm such a proud mom. Then Sunday, my husband's junior college team played and they lost. They played good, but they still lost at the end. And so they actually get to see firsthand how that student feels and what it feels like to be them so that they are conscious about what they're doing and what they're implementing for those students with those disabilities. So get those students up, get them moving. Don't just stand there and talk to them. You hated it. I hate it. We all hate it. So let's change the tone. Let's do something different and get them up and get them involved and make them want to learn. Make your class that everybody wants to take. My class is one that always fills up because everybody knows that I don't do the paper pencil thing. You're going to get up and you're going to know about this disability like the back of your hand. The end. Number three is really, really easy. Let your students get to know you, okay? Be personable. You want them to come and share with you and you got this wall up and this stern, I'm better than you, I'm superior to you, and you do what I say. And no, let them get to know you, okay? Let them feel and understand that you too are a person and life happens to you, right? So I do this great exercise that I absolutely love to do on the very first day of class. I have the students, each student can go around and they can ask me at least one question. And it can be, they can ask me anything within reason. Don't run out, don't go too far. But they can ask me anything within reason about myself and I answer it. Now, what I do with that information is I then take it and as we're doing our review, as I'm activating their prior knowledge of the information that we talked about the last class meeting, I do something called opportunity response. So it's a question that is posted and it has typically 4 choices or whatnot. And so with those questions, I always throw in something about me to see what they remember if they were listening. Okay. My students in the past have loved this because what they say about this is it does show that I'm personable, and it does show that, I'm human and I'm compassionate and I want to know about them and I want them to feel comfortable with me. So I do it. They love it. I love it. Typically they're really, really shy. You do have those students that want to pry and be like, oh, okay, well, where you live and what you do and what kind of car you drive. So again, we have to have some boundaries. Let's stay professional. But for the most part, they get to know me. They get to know about my children, my family, my travels, my educational background, my goals and aspirations. And so it also opens their eyes to things that they too can accomplish and achieve. Okay. So let those kids get to know you. Okay. You want to know about them. You want to know what's going on with them. You want them to be open and honest with you. You do the same. The end. Number two is very, 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 very serious for me. I have had some situations in which I wish I had have done this and I didn't. And there was nothing that harsh happened, but it could have gone a whole number way. Number two is very simple. Always, always, always communicate in writing. Okay. The reason for this is that when you communicate, whether it's with a colleague or if it's with your students, when you have something in writing, when there is a discrepancy, you can always go back and say, no, 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 no. On November 26th, 2019, at approximately 3:13 p.m., this is what you said to me, and this was my response. Therefore, X, Y, and Z, and 1, 2, and 3. Okay, having those conversations face to face, anybody and everybody can say, well, I didn't say that. Oh, I never, no, 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 we never talked. She never talked to me. She never said anything, which is something that happened to me. I've also had colleagues that have said we were working on a project and then the project did not get turned in time. And they basically said that it was me, that I didn't get my information to them or whatnot. But what I did was we verbally discussed what we were supposed to do. And they told me that they were writing it down as we were discussing it. I'm thinking we're collaborating. I'm not thinking anything about it. And then 2 weeks later, when it's done, I'm getting called to the carpet to say that I did not do my part. From then on, I learned, no, 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 no. So what I do is, even if I have a face-to-face conversation with a student or a colleague, I always follow up with an email that says, per our conversation, XYZ 1, 2, and 3. Just wanted to let you know, or just get this to you for future reference or whatever. That way, there is no discrepancy. You always, especially when you're talking about grades, if you're talking about some kind of sharing of responsibilities, or you're trying to get a message across to somebody or whatever, so nothing gets lost in communication. Okay, always, always, always communicate in writing. The end. And number one, the most important tip for a first year professor: have fun. Have a good time. You have worked your butt off to get to this point. You have jumped through several hoops. You have gone through several emails and interview processes. You have waited the longest time to get to this point. Enjoy it. Live your best life. Teach your best class. Have the most fun with this, all right? This is the one area that I believe that you can be as creative as you want to, okay? Remember that you are training future professionals, and that can be a lot of pressure. That can be a lot of pressure on you, but have fun. Know your content, get it out there, find those creative ways to do it. Most of all, have fun. Enjoy yourself. You deserve it. You've earned it, and we love it. Otherwise, why do we do it? Have fun. The end. All right, guys, those are my top 10 tips for the first year professor. I hope something that I said helps you navigate successfully through your first year. I hope you have a great time. I hope you change lives. Go out there, continue to be great. Do what you do. Be blessed. As always, be a blessing. Until I see you next time, class is dismissed. Hey guys, like this video and want to see more? Remember to hit like, subscribe, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay abreast of all the tea that I'm spilling.